Hi, you can call me Navi. This is a rant commentary on some weird shit I've seen on YouTube. Enjoy, and if you hear anything in the background, no you don't. I don't have soundproofing. Alright. To begin, I have to explain that I'm not a commentary channel, nor do I aim to become one. This is simply something I am incredibly annoyed with. Nothing more, nothing less. Also, as a preface, even though I've done research and taken time to phrase this in a decent way, making sure to get my point across as aptly as possible, I am not a professional. I don't have a fancy mic, I don't have a bunch of time to do things like this. I'm doing this because I haven't seen anyone point it out yet, and I'm passionate about the subject. As a final warning, this is not a commentary on the Velma TV show. I didn't watch it. I simply watched a lot of reviews on it and noticed a really gross trend in almost, not all, but almost all of them. Alright, let me try to make this as concise as possible. Velma, an HBO original spin-off of the Scooby-Doo IP, has just begun to put out episodes. The show is garbage, genuinely unpleasant to watch for nearly everyone involved. Why? Well, there are a lot of reasons, but the most common I have seen on YouTube videos are as follows. There is little to no real comedy in the show, and it is designed to be a comedy. There's nothing. In every video I've seen, people have stated that there has been one joke. I've seen at least 3 videos where every person in the video has said that there's only been one joke they enjoyed, and it's usually the same joke. There's bad character writing. They butchered lovable characters and made them into miserable bastards who hate everything and are assholes to one another. The plot is awful. I haven't seen the show, but I can't imagine it's very compelling, and from everything I've heard, it's not good. And the cherry on top of all of it, the subject of today's video, the one quote-unquote problem I have seen way too frequently for my comfort. The woke agenda. This sounds absurd, and the way I worded it doesn't do it a lot of justice. It's not that people are explicitly calling out the woke agenda in Velma. They don't say that. It's something a little more sinister, implying things that aren't really good, or productive to point out in any way. It's subtext in their own reviews, and it's wildly uncomfortable to see. The commentary I have seen about Velma almost always criticizes something that doesn't actually serve as a problem, and the comment sections in these reviews are even worse, because they say what the creator isn't willing to say on their actual videos. Obviously Velma has problems, but the problems aren't that they made Shaggy black or Velma Indian or shit like that. That doesn't matter, although I can't say confidently that Mindy Kaling isn't projecting onto her characters again with her frankly miserable worldview, but oh well. Velma and Daphne potentially becoming lovers isn't a problem. Their lesbianism isn't a problem, as much as I've seen it touted as one. People need to stop saying these are problems. They aren't. The problem with Velma and Daphne's relationship doesn't stem from lesbianism, or the fact that it's too different from the original idea of the characters, because changing one or two things that are somewhat innocuous about characters isn't a big deal. It really, really isn't. The problem with the characters in this show aren't that their skin tones and races were changed. Who gives a shit? That is not a real problem. That does not make the show worse. If you're watching an adaptation of characters you grew up with and are crying and sobbing and shitting yourself because the white character was turned black, there's a whole other problem, and it's not with the show. If you are in a comment section on a YouTube video and are listing problems with the show and literally, and I quote, put lesbian or lesbian tendencies in the negative trait sections, you need to get help. Making straight white characters Indian and lesbian or something akin is not ruining your show. It is not ruining media. It is not the problem. The problem with Velma and with TV shows similar are that the writers didn't give a shit. With Velma, they almost certainly aimed to outrage everyone who watched it by sprinkling some quote-unquote woke agenda shit over a big heap of garbage while watching as people blame liberals and progressives. The show, from what some people have speculated, and this is just speculation, but it's not to be dismissed easily, was designed to spark outrage and to help the narrative that animation is bad and that the liberal agenda is bad. Now, the first part of that is probably true, knowing HBO. The second part is just a bit weirder and a lot more complicated. See, when shows are shitty and lean into a woke agenda, it can be brushed off as people only make these shows to appeal to liberals, and that's why it failed. Is that really true, though? Do showrunners who are actually capable of making decent TV actually make bad media when asked to make it woke? Is that a thing? How can people believe that successful showrunners are so tone-deaf they can't make anything good when attempting to make it diverse? Does that really make sense to anyone? I've seen hundreds of people saying that in the push for more diversity in media, said media has gotten worse. But has it really? I've read and occasionally watched a ton of recent or somewhat recent media that has featured a whole lot of diversity, and a whole lot of it has been good. I've also read and watched some hot garbage in that category, and this applies to not only the diverse media in the world, but also non-diverse media, though I, personally, tend to shy away from products with an astounding lack of any diversity whatsoever because it just doesn't appeal to my demographic, personally. So then, what is killing shows like this? What is killing shows like Velma or High Guardian Spice, for example? It's not gay people or POC. The woke agenda isn't killing media. It's negligence and an astounding lack of care for their property. Diversity can be done well, and it has been time and time again, and to try to conflate the problems with TV shows like Velma with "they made the characters gay" is incredibly insulting and incredibly stupid. Stop saying diversity is a problem when talking about this show. It's the showrunners and the producers who don't care about their media as long as it can send their agenda. And their agenda clearly isn't the woke agenda. It's something more sinister. Anyhow, just to make sure no one gets me wrong, I think Velma sucks, and is a real shame, too. They very easily could have made a good show that includes the diversity they added, as the diversity isn't actually a story element, and the story elements are the real problem. The show's animation is genuinely pleasant to look at most of the time, and the character designs are, for the most part, attractive. They did do Fred real fucking dirty. They could have made him a himbo. Everyone loves himbos. I don't like using that word that much, though. I mean, hell, they made Daphne even hotter, in my personal opinion. It's not hard to write a good story, and they have to have done it on purpose, because the diversity in the show isn't even that notable. It's kind of underwhelming. They couldn't have focused too much on the diversity and gotten the story wrong. There's no possible way. It's really sad, and it sucks that some people can't understand the real problem here and are essentially getting manipulated by dumbasses on the internet who say that the woke agenda is what is ruining media. Anyhow, I got a little heated, and it just sucks when people act really gross towards groups you're a part of and use those groups as negatives completely incorrectly. It made me wildly uncomfortable to see people use Velma and Daphne's lesbian tendencies as a negative. Velma and Daphne in other media with the Scooby-Doo IP have been hinted to be lesbians and have been stated that it's a potential by the showrunners before. But oh well. Thanks for watching. Please let me know if I made any mistakes or if you hate mine and all lesbians' guts. Have a great rest of your day, and don't subscribe if you expect more of this. I'm an artist, not a news reporter. Bye!